Okay, so before I go into talking about Dr. Robert J. Sternberg, I'm going to review my 3 power teaching techniques. Class okay, everybody knows about. Our class yes, teach okay, and then we're going to do extra credit and then extra credit. So that's determined on how enthusiastic you guys are when you guys are teaching each other, when you teach yourselves. Okay, so now going into Dr. Robert J. Sternberg. Okay, he was one of the many psychologists influenced by Piaget. So that's also one of the main, influencers of his studies. He received his BA from Yale and then continued on to Stanford where he got his PhD. And he's an author of over 1,000 books and articles. So now I'm going to have you guys teach yourself, or reality check your neighbor. So teach, okay. So class?
Yes.
Okay. Teach, teach.
Okay.
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 Okay, class?
Yes.
Okay. Gwen, can you reality check me on how many books and articles you wrote?
At least 1,000.
Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to move on. So he defines intelligence as your skill in achieving whatever it is you want to attain in your life within your socio-cultural context by capitalizing on your strengths and compensating for or correcting your weaknesses. Now class, reality check your partner on his definition of intelligence. Teach.
Okay.
Okay. Skill
Basically how one is succeeding in life.
I think the main thing is you focus on your strengths.
You focus on your strengths
And you
and
find ways
compensate your weaknesses or
Class.
Yes.
Come on, you guys, that's a extra credit. Class.
Yes.
Okay, there we go, extra credit. Okay, Chris, can you give us a brief overview of his definition of intelligence?
Not verbatim, but if you use your strengths to achieve the goals you want to get. I don't know.
Close. Basically, it's based your socio-context helps determine your strengths and weaknesses. It capitalizes on both your strengths and weaknesses depending on what you're doing. Okay, so Dr. Sternberg's, story kind of is a unique one. He started out rough in his beginning when he started out in school. He didn't perform well on IQ tests, and he was kind of put in the low standards. But that all changed for him when he was in 4th grade, when his teacher, Mrs. Alexa, actually saw his potential and really pushed him to, achieve better scores, be a better student. So with that lady, with her help, it really influenced him to, change what he wanted to do as a student. He eventually became one of those high-achieving students, graduating summa cum laude and Pi Beta Kappa from Yale, which is a great, accomplishment for somebody who was actually put under the low testing levels, and he had somebody really push him. So out of a gratitude to her, he dedicated his book Successful Intelligence to her, which I'm sure if she was alive, would appreciate it. So one of his personal experiences with intelligent testing in elementary school led him to develop a test when he was in 7th grade. So he happened to find the Stanford Binet test that we had already talked about and decided to administer his own version of the test for a science project. So he began administering his test called the Sternberg Test of Mental Abilities, or STOMA, in 7th grade, which is kind of cool. So, class,
Yes.
reality check your partner on what his brief little bio about his experience in school. Teach.
He was lazy, was ill, and was like, fourth grade, stop being lazy, smart. And then he graduated with like the highest rank you can get
Developing their own IQ tests and administer as a science project. That is awesome.
That is awesome.
Okay, class.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, come on, look, you can do a little bit better than that. Come on, class.
Yes.
Okay, Eric, can you reality check us on this little, just a brief?
Yeah,
30
his, did not do well on IQ tests. Fourth grade teacher really pushed him to achieve greatness. He dedicated one of his books to her, and he developed his own version of IQ testing in 7th grade.
Yes. Okay, so now we're going to move on to his theory. Dr. Sternberg's triarchic theory of successful intelligence contends that intellectual behavior arises from the balance between analytical, creative, and practical abilities, and that these abilities function collectively to allow individuals to achieve success within a particular socio-cultural context. So basically, you have to use the 3 skills together, or whatever, to determine your intelligence. So he defines analytical abilities that are abilities that enable individuals to evaluate, analyze, compare, and contrast information, which is basically the definition of analytical. His creative abilities, he believes, generate an invention, discovery, and other creative endeavors. And practical abilities tie everything together by allowing the individual to apply what they have learned in the appropriate setting. So now class.
Yes.
Okay, reality check your partner on the 3 abilities that he believes in his theory. Each.
Okay.
Because nobody else participated.
I did.
I know you did. When you finished.
I get it. Well, I don't think I did. I got the triangle theory.
Okay, class.
Yes.
Yes.
Can somebody reality check Gwen on the 3? Oh man. Analytical, creative, and practical. Those 3 are what he focused his studies on. So he felt to be successful in life, the individual must take the best use of his or her analytical, creative, and practical strengths, while at the same time compensating for weaknesses in any of these areas. So basically, if somebody is really strong in their analytical skills, they may not be as strong in the other skills, but they use the analytical skills to compensate for the other 2 that they're not as great at. And that can be with all 3, if 2 of the 3 in any sort of combination. So basically, that's his theory and what he studied. He also influenced theories related to creativity, wisdom, thinking styles, love, and hate. So that's also important to know. And that's all. Okay, and my questions are,